And we're live with another episode of BS Busters. We're riding a little bit light today, but that's okay. Because, you know, sometimes we go a little bit, sometimes we roll deep, sometimes we roll light. Either way, it's good.
Right.
So, I got some news for everyone. I did a rant. I did a video talking about how EA's Respawn subsidiary says gamers would be alienated by non-human protagonists. We got 37 votes on Twitter, and the overwhelming winner is just let the game be good by 67%. No thanks, human for me got 0 votes, and Let's Play as an Alien got like 33%. So it's nice. Just wanted to put that out there. So before we go any further, let's have the other my co-host introduce himself, and then we'll dive down into it.
Hello, this is Picking Off of Video Game Facts. I was busy watching recorded episodes on DirecTV until I realized that we're having a podcast today at this time. So I had to pause for a moment.
All right. Well, yeah, it's me, Mr. Red Fox, and let's get down into it. So I guess we'll start with Kickstarter. A lot of people have this misconception that Kickstarter is just like a scam and it's a failure, but there are successful Kickstarter games, games that were kickstarted and came out, and the game turned out to be functional, if not good. One of the biggest successes you can think of is Shovel Knight. That game was kickstarted, and Shovel Knight's a really good game, you know?
Yeah. So we're still waiting for the final
DLC.
Yeah, the final DLC to come out.
But I mean, you know, it's like, you know, everyone loves to jump in and be like, well, Kickstarter is a scam. But look at all these high profile games that have come out from Kickstarter. Yes, like I would say like 85% of the things that are on Kickstarter never reach their goal, and you know, shit happens. But there's enough that actually do succeed to where if you tweaked Kickstarter a little bit, it could be a better platform. So I just wanted to say that, because people, you know, and even games that people might not necessarily like, it's like, is the game itself bad, or do you not like the people who ran the Kickstarter? For example, Mighty Number 9. You know, everyone's like, well, Keiji Inafune, and what about the game? Well, you know, it's always like when people talk about their dislike of that game, it's always, well, I don't like what Keiji Inafune did. And that's a little weird to me.
And let's not forget the Kickstarter games that failed.
Oh yeah, there's tons of Kickstarter games that fail. That's just, you know, that's like saying, well, you shouldn't open a business because they'll shutter. Statistically speaking, most businesses fail. That doesn't mean people should stop trying, you know?
I mean, like failing to reach their Kickstarter goals.
Yeah, period. I'm just saying, like, failure, because things fail, should not be a reason for you not to do it. Because, like, believe it or not, like, failure is how you move forward. Like, you know, human beings learn through failure. We make a mistake, and we're like, I'm not going to do that again, and we do it a different way. So, you know, if you're not going to try something because you might fail, then you'll never learn. You never grow. You'll never get better at doing something. I mean, even people who are the best at something, or are widely acknowledged as being the best at something, at some point they failed and they got better. That's just life. But anyway, talking about Kickstarter. So here are some Kickstarter games that, you know, that actually were kickstarted and turned out pretty well. FTL. FTL is called Faster Than Light. It's an acronym for Faster Than Light, and it had a Kickstarter campaign. And this was, I want to say 7 years ago, February 27th to April 1st, 2012. And they asked for $10,000. They got $200,542. And the game came out September 14th, 2012. And FTL is a good game. Like it's a roguelike, it's a space travel game where basically you play a crew of a crew on the ship of like 3 to 4 characters, and like every time you start a new game, like as you unlock achievements, you unlock new ships which have new crew members, and like it's really moddable, so you can like add new characters and shit. I mean, add new ships and stuff like that. I mean, it's an astonishingly good game. It's basically, you know, it's a space game. You go in space. Now, of course, it was created by a 2-man developer subset game, so they had very little overhead. But you know, the game came out. It's a pretty good game. The Banner Saga. People know about that game. The Banner Saga. It's like there's a third one coming out. There's 2 games in the series, and there's a third one coming out that's supposed to tie everything together. And that game was kickstarted in once again 7 years ago. They asked for $100,000. They got a little over $700,000, and the game came out. You know, of course, another Kickstarter success, Shovel Knight. They asked for $75,000. They got a little over $300,000. You know.
I think we could also talk about Undertale, which was also a Kickstarter game.
Yeah, Undertale. Well, I mean, I'm just looking at this list. I don't think Undertale probably might be on the list. There's Hyper Light Drifter. They asked for $27,000. They got almost $650,000. Like, I mean, there's tons of games that got kickstarted that are good games. Like, I don't know why people are always so, you know, oh, these bastards. These games are terrible. It's like, come on, man. Calm down. You know, it just, you know, Kickstarter is a platform. Okay, it's a platform for people asking. Like right now, people are using it to ask for games, and that's a good and bad thing. Because personally speaking, I mean, with seeing what EA has been doing to multiple franchises, sometimes it's good to be able to make a game and not have a publisher's foot up your ass if you're a developer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes that's a good thing. You know, sometimes it is a good thing to do that. You know, especially when you look at EA and Activision and the development, like basically the way I look at it is like this: you can go completely indie, and then you're always going to be scrounging and scraping unless you have an established IP that you get to control yourself, and then you're basically like, I can do whatever the hell I want. But most developers aren't going to be like that. Like that's a very small. I mean, it's not really small because there's more indie developers than there are establishment. I work for a I work for a publisher developers. But then there's like the safe. I work for a publisher. The thing is that when you work for a publisher, they're going to have their foot up your ass. You know, that's the trade-off. It's like I have a steady paycheck, but also someone's foot up my ass. So I don't know. Where do you go from there? Not a clue. But so are there any Kickstarters that you remember that were notable, that they succeeded or failed or anything like that?
Let's see. I can only think of Shantae Half Genie Hero.
Yeah, that was a pretty good game. I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. That game, you could tell because it was kickstarted and they didn't make it themselves that there was shit that should have been in that game that they kind of had to make creative choices in order to get it to work. If you get my drift.
Yeah.
But now that the game came out and they put it for sale and it sold for a while, like now that like it reached a certain point, the game looks a lot better now than it was when it first released. Because when it first released, that game was kind of like, nah, this game's missing some shit. And I know what some people are going to say. They're going to say, well, you don't.
And weren't they paid DLC or were they free DLC?
I think if you were a Kickstarter backer, it was free DLC. If you weren't a Kickstarter backer and you just bought the game, it was paid DLC. But a lot of games do that. Shovel Knight was like that. Shovel Knight, like the base, like if you were a Kickstarter backer of Shovel Knight or one of the first people who bought it, like in that first initial run, you got a lot of that DLC for free. And then after the, like, I think you got all the DLC for free after that. And then after that, like if you bought it like after the initial run, because I was one of the people that kickstarted Shovel Knight, so I get all that shit for free. Like I don't have to give anyone, they're like, here's your download code, and you just tell them like you put what platform you got Shovel Knight for, what you wanted it for, and then they send you download codes for that platform. So I mean, I like Shovel Knight, so it's a good game. Let's see. I guess we can go to the movie portion since no one really wants to talk much about the Kickstarters. So recently, we've heard that Mortal Kombat is being rebooted.
Wasn't the last reboot relegated to being an online series?
Yeah, that wasn't really a reboot. That was more like a reimagining that was done with the blessing of the Mortal Kombat whatever
Studios, like
yeah, it was like done with their blessing. That wasn't really like, okay, we're gonna build this all over again.
Do you think there will not be any green band trailers for the movie, and instead red bands, just to show off the blood and gore and fatalities?
I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. Like I hope it doesn't. Like I hope they lean. Like okay, Mortal Kombat was like the whole hook of Mortal Kombat. You can't on a technical level. Mortal Kombat was not a better fighting game than Street Fighter. It wasn't like its story is convoluted as fuck. The real hook of Mortal Kombat was the fatalities. That was the whole hook. And the fatalities were basically this R-rated, hey, Sub-Zero froze this guy and then punched him into pieces. Or, like, or froze the guy and ripped his head off and his spine's hanging there. Like that was the whole point of Mortal Kombat was the fatalities. So for them, the first Mortal Kombat movie isn't bad. It really isn't. Like I would say the first Mortal Kombat movie is probably the best video game movie ever made. But that's not saying much. That's not like, that's like saying this pizza that didn't fall on the floor is the best pizza I've ever had because every pizza I had before that, it fell on the floor and someone picked it up and served it to me. Like, like that's a very low bar. You get what I'm saying? It's a very low bar to hurdle. So like Mortal Kombat, the first Mortal Kombat was pretty good. Hopefully this next one they'll lean into the R rating and not like the latest Hellboy reboot where it's like you get 2/3 of the movie and then they realize, oh shit, we have an R rating. We can be as violent as we want. Like I hope this movie from the start has like people getting horrifically killed. And please keep the CGI to a minimum. If you can do as many practical special effects as humanly possible, because practical special effects look more real, whereas too much CGI looks like I'm watching a video game, and there's like no effect for people getting, like, I watched this movie where a guy got shot in the head, but it was CGI, and the shit looked so fake. I was like, no.
But some of the fatalities, CGI, it may be required.
Well, yeah. For some of them, but for a lot of them, you could do a mixture of practical and CGI. Like you could like Sub-Zero's freezing fatality, where he freezes someone and then punches them into pieces. You could literally have him do his fatality, do a body model of someone that looks like he's been frozen. So, you know, the blue skin, oh, he's frozen, and then punch the body model and have it shattered into pieces. Because they did that in Terminator 2 with the T-1000, where he's like, hasta la vista, baby, and shot it and it shattered into pieces. Like, that's the type of practical, and that's way cooler than practical special effects. To me, will always trump a whole bunch of CGI. I'm sorry. And I don't care what anyone says. Oh no, but I like CGI. Look, listen. Like, I know a lot of people like that other shit, but I like that old shit. I mean, I like CGI, and I think you could totally get away with CGI. You could totally get away with practical special effects in a Mortal Kombat film. Not everything. Not like that. Not if they have animalities or babalities or friendships, but like just gore. Because gore is more visceral when it looks real than when it's just overly CGI'd, at least to me. Like, there's more there's more stuff going on, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
That's just me. That's just me. So with that being said, I guess we can talk about movies, video games that could do with having a movie made about them. So you go first, and then I'll go, and then we'll give our sign-offs and wrap things up.
Let's see. I was thinking like a self-contained Legend of Zelda Legend of Zelda movie, since, you know, every Zelda game stars a different Link and a different Zelda and a different Ganon. So I think they have the excuse to make up their own story rather than adapting one of the mainline titles.
I mean, like, the thing is that even though the nuances between each game are slightly different, it all boils down to essentially the same story over and over and over again, more or less. The Majora's Mask was different, but like almost every single Legend of Zelda game except for Majora's Mask pretty much boils down to, even with different Links and different Zeldas and a different Ganon, it's like, okay, I got to collect these MacGuffins in order to get strong enough to defeat the big bad at the end, who inevitably turns out to be Ganon. Okay.
Well, there was no Ganon in Spirit Tracks or in...
Yeah, but they had the Ganon analog in Spirit Tracks. They had, like, it's basically Ganon, but with different hair color, basically. Same bald spot, though. I don't know, like, what is it like when you become the evil big bad in Legend of Zelda? Why do you have to lose your hair? Like, if someone said you will become the most powerful evil being in this universe, but you're also gonna lose your hair. No deal. But you'll become really powerful. No, that's okay. I'm all right over here. I like having hair. The most powerful being in the Legend of Zelda universe, but you can't fix that bald spot. You can't get. They don't have Rogaine in Hyrule. But yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. You know what might even be better though? If they did a mini-series.
You mean like that rumored Netflix series that was described to be Game of Thrones for families or something?
I mean, like, here's the thing. Like when I say a miniseries, I don't care what platforms it's on. I'm just saying, because the thing is like there's so much shit that goes on in a Legend of Zelda game. You cannot translate that into a 2-hour movie. Like it's damn near impossible. But if you did it in a miniseries, you could pull it off. Like a 10-episode miniseries, you could go through Link coming into his destiny. You go through him going through some of the dungeons. You go through him, the inevitable where you realize the inevitable point in a Legend of Zelda game where you realize, damn, this world is bigger than I thought. and going on an even greater journey, and then the end where you wrap everything up in the final episode. Boom. But I mean, it's still movie-based type stuff, so that works. But that's just me. Any other ideas?
Oh, let's see. There's Metroid, but I know there had already been talks about one for years now.
Yeah.
And of course, Metal Gear. Though they might want to condense. I don't know if there should be an adaptation of the very first game, or maybe the first MGS game.
I think the first game would do better than the Metal Gear Solid, because Metal Gear Solid's convoluted as fuck, whereas the first Metal Gear game is pretty damn straightforward. This soldier has to infiltrate this base in order to turn off these nukes, and while he's doing that, he winds up fighting a Metal Gear Rex. That's it. It's very simple, very to the point. You could get Jason Statham to play Solid Snake. Actually, here's the thing. Jason Statham could pull off the physical stunts, but he has no hair, so it would be kind of, you'd have to get him to have a wig, and he just, like, Jason Statham in a wig looks really weird, because it's like, dude, I know you're bald.
And they'll probably have David Hayter be the writer of the movie, since he's known for writing movie scripts before, such as Brian Singer's X-Men films.
Nah. I'll keep it real. If I was gonna have someone do a script for a Metal Gear movie, I would have John Carpenter, since Metal Gear Solid anyway is fucking ripped off of Solid Snake from
Escape to New York. Escape from New York.
Yeah, from Escape from New York and Escape from LA. So I mean, why not? Look, why do we keep on going with the generic knockoff and go with the original? To write the script. I mean, John Carpenter's still alive. He's still doing shit. Get him to write the script. Hell, I mean, look, if you want to do a Metal Gear Solid game with old ass Snake, you could get Kurt Russell. He's still alive. He's still alive, and he can still do shit. give him an eye patch. It'd work out perfectly. Since Hideo Kojima is unoriginal as fuck, and he just keeps on copying shit from pop culture.
Yeah, but do remember that Kojima is no longer part of any future Metal Gear production.
No, I understand that, but it was based off of the shit he created, and since he's unoriginal, and the roots of the unoriginality are still there. It's like even once Shigeru Miyamoto is gone, and Eiji Aonuma is gone, like the roots of what Mario is, because they were created by Shigeru Miyamoto, and it's part of the pop culture of it. Then the legacy of it, you can't change that. So certain things are going to have to stay the same. So I guess it's my turn. You took the one I wanted to do. I wanted to do Metroid.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay. I got another one. I got another one. Okay, a Donkey Kong animated movie.
Oh, we can count animated movies now. I thought it was gonna be strictly live action.
Movie in general. I didn't put any specifics on it. Donkey Kong.
I could have mentioned a Kirby animated movie.
Donkey Kong the animated movie. Donkey Kong the animated movie. Now, I got a good one. It's 90 minutes, and the premise of the movie is I'm just ripping off Raiders of the Lost Ark. Not Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Last Crusade. Except in this case, you've got Donkey, Diddy, and Cranky. Except in this case, Cranky, just because, really, like Donkey Kong, the relationship of Donkey Kong and Cranky Kong and Diddy Kong was ripped off of Indiana Jones anyway. So bring it full circle, because it would totally work. Like Donkey Kong rescues his dad, and he's like, his dad's talking shit the entire time. Like, it took you 3 days to rescue me. Back in my day, I could have done this in an hour. Just talking shit. just talking shit the entire time. He's like, yeah, shut up, old man. You don't know what you're talking about. But and then have Cranky do some badass shit with his cane. It's like, well, actually, he is still pretty badass. And then immediately fall asleep because he's old. It's like, damn. And they kind of did play around with this in Donkey Kong 64. Where there's this scene where Cranky Kong is carrying like the last banana to put in the banana horde, and he's on his way back, but he's walking way too damn slow for Donkey Kong. So he picks him up and runs him to the end. So you could totally do that, and you could have the analog for the Nazis be King K. Rool. Obviously, bring back King K. Rool in a big way, because I thought he was a better villain than anyone they've had in the Donkey Kong Country Returns shit. Because they're kind of like, those characters don't have character, which is kind of ironic, but whatever. So
since it's gonna be like the Last Crusade, does that mean the gold is gonna be the golden banana instead of the Holy Grail?
Why not? Like, Donkey Kong has to get the golden banana, because the golden banana special ability is that it can create more bananas. So you have this one banana, it creates more bananas. And Donkey Kong's like, well, shit, I gotta get that. And there you go. And if Nintendo were smart, they'd make this animated movie, have it coincide with a new Donkey Kong Country, 3D, Return of King K. Rool, get rid of all these scrub-ass characters they've been putting out. Simultaneous release, Donkey Kong the movie, Donkey Kong the video game, boom. Bring back David Wise to do the music.
But don't movies need a full orchestra to do, instead of like MIDI music?
MIDI. Yeah, they could. Here's the thing, okay? Like, David Wise is a classically trained musician. I saw that dude do a concert. It not live in person, like a recording of a concert he did. Dude's a classically trained musician. He can write music too. So why not just let him write the score? Hell, John Williams is a classically trained musician and a conductor. Let him write let him write the music. That's all I want. I just want him to write the music for the Donkey Kong movie, and then have them do the music for the video game. Because the remixes they did in the 2 Donkey Kong Country Returns games, those are okay, but I like the original. Like I said, I don't want the generic brand. I want the original. But yeah, Donkey Kong Country, the video game, coincide with the movie. Boom, Donkey Kong. My other movie idea for a video game movie that I think could work. I'll go live action this time. Okay, hear me out. I'm about to say something that's going to make some people cringe, but hear me out. Final Fight the movie.
I don't think anyone's going to cringe on that, since that one actually makes sense to be live action.
Final Fight the movie, and the whole movie is basically like the Warriors, except basically it's the Warriors. Yeah, I was about to say except, but no, it's the Warriors, and we can it's the first game in movie form. So basically, all you got is the mayor, his daughter's boyfriend, and his daughter's boyfriend's best friend going around beating the shit out of gang members in a city, fighting their way up to downtown to a penthouse where the boyfriend uppercuts a motherfucker through a plate glass window. That's it. That's the whole movie. It's just excruciating violence. Okay? Just excruciating violence. And we get a guy who's kind of buff to be Mike Haggar. We get a dude who's good at fisticuffs and knives to be Cody. And Guy, we can get an Asian person because, Guy was supposed to be Asian anyway. And we fill the movie with Easter eggs for people who like those games. So, we could have a point where Mike Haggar is like, man, I'm hungry. I got to eat something. And it's like, well, we're nowhere near a restaurant, and we got to get downtown and save Jessica. And he's like, oh, let me check in this garbage can. Have him eat something out of a garbage can. Why not?
And which of the final 5 bosses will make a cut to reach the movie's length?
No, have all of them.
All of them?
Have Damned, have Sodom, have because basically the entire movie is just a continuous, you don't have to show them beating up every henchman, but you can start out with Mayor Mike Haggar sitting in his office. He gets the phone call. It's like, oh shit, and he turns on the TV. These motherfuckers, because it's rated R, it's got cuss words. These sons of bitches, I'm gonna click. And he calls Cody because it's set in the 80s. It's a period piece set in the 80s. It's like, Cody, they kidnapped Jessica. Who? Mad Gear. And then it starts. They meet up in front of the mayor's mansion, and they start kicking ass, taking names, right? And in the first 10, 15 minutes, they run into Damned, and then it's an ass kicking. Except it's you got 3 characters, so really it's the 3 of them ganging up on Damned, beating the shit out of them. Really, that's what it's like. Look, this movie is rated R, ass kicking, Hong Kong chop socky type of stuff going on. Okay, it's violent. You're gonna see people picking up lead pipes and beating people upside the head with it. It's gonna be violent. There's gonna be blood. There's gonna be cussing. There's gonna be people getting lit on fire with Molotov cocktails. I mean, the biggest budget of this movie is going to be getting the special effects, because it's going to be practical special effects, and maybe some stunt and the stuntmen, because you're going to have people who are going to be okay with being lit on fire. And there are stunt people who specialize in getting lit on fire. So, yeah, first 10, 15 minutes, damn. Then they go into the subway. They fight their way through a subway train, get to the end of the line, fight Saddam. Then they go to Uptown, where they're in the cage match against the Andores. Okay. Then they fight their way to the industrial area. Then they fight their way to the Bayside against Abigail. And then after Abigail, they got to fight their way to downtown to Belger's office, where he's all like in a wheelchair, like, you wouldn't hurt an old man, and Mike Haggart's like, get the fuck out of that chair, you fucking phony. And then you have the ass whooping of a lifetime, except Belger's got a fucking crossbow, automatic crossbow, so like they can't just rush him and kick his ass. And of course, it culminates with Cody uppercutting a motherfucker through a plate glass window. And that's the end of the movie. Like it's basically, the movie is like the video game. You could totally do that. You could do that. Really, if you really wanted to, you could do it in 80 minutes. But 90, I think, so that you could have the ending where Cody's walking along and he's trying to get out of town because he just murdered a man, so he's gonna have to. I mean, the guy was an asshole, but still, he just murdered a man. He's trying not to go to jail, And if the movie does well, you can do Final Fight 2 and Final Fight 3. We could bring back the era of the 80s martial arts films. The Jean-Claude Van Damme era returns. But hey, that's just me. So, anything else?
Let's see. I already said on Kirby animated movie. And let's see which. I was thinking of a live action Castlevania movie, probably either base it off of Simon's Time or Richter's Time.
That'd be cool.
Or maybe even a movie based off of Julius Belmont to fill in the gaps. Between one of the previous Castlevania titles to the Dawn of Sorrow series.
Oh, that'd be cool. Or
since I doubt Konami is ever going to give us a new Castlevania game.
I mean, they'll probably make another Castlevania game, but it's probably going to be shitty. I mean, actually, no, I take that back, because they're giving us a new Contra game, and that game looks great.
I mean, a new Castlevania game that won't be connected to the original timeline. There'll probably be another reboot, like.
Normally I would agree with you, except for one small problem. Dawn of Shadows and Legacy of Shadows. Those two Mercury Steam piece of shit Castlevania games. Oh God, I hate those games. Those games fucked up the entire timeline. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. You could do one huge prequel and go with the original timeline before Igarashi fucked it up and Konami fucked it up, and just write the timelines of Castlevania so that it's what it should be,
Too late for that, because the Netflix Castlevania series made Leon Belmont canon.
No. That series is only the third game, which is canonically like the third game in the series. So, like, the prequel series goes well before that, like well before all of that. It tells the origins of Alucard, the origins of the Belmont line, all that shit.
Yeah, are you talking about the Sophia Belmont game?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
But because that shit came out during Igarashi's reign. Before Igarashi changed the timeline of Castlevania, the original timeline was there wasn't an Alexander Belmont. There was Alexandra Belmont. She was the first Belmont, and she teamed up with Alucard to take down Dracula the very first time. They celebrate like people do who survived a near-death experience. They got it on. They got busy. They had a celebration of life, if you will, by making life of their own. And they had a kid. That kid was Simon. So, I mean, that's where the whole bloodline thing comes in, because the whole reason the Belmonts have this intertwined kind of thing with Dracula is because, like, technically speaking, they're blood related to each other, because Alucard is Dracula's son, Simon is Alucard's son, and they tried to do that with the Mercury Steam games, like Dracula games, but they fucked it up entirely because Hideo Kojima torpedoed those games. He was like, fuck it. But yeah. So technically speaking, when Simon Belmont's fighting Dracula, that's elderly abuse. That's elderly. You're abusing. You're beating the shit out of your grandfather with a whip. That ain't right. The Transylvania police ought to get your ass, Simon. And also, technically speaking, the reason Simon Belmont is arguably the most powerful of the Belmonts is because he's like, what, a quarter vampire? Because Alucard's half vampire, and he's his son, so he's a quarter vampire. So that's an interesting story. We'll never get it because, you know, people fucked up the storyline. But anyway, anything else you want to add before we wrap things up?
Like any more video game movies? Let's see.
I mean, I didn't want to go too long, so, you know.
Oh, probably another live action Street Fighter movie, but this time based off of Street Fighter 1 and be about Ryu.
Oh, that could work. I mean, you know, if you can get past the fact that he's a cheating bastard, but, you know, why not?
With him and Sagat as the film's climax.
Yeah, but you know, if you made that movie, people would get mad because there's no M. Bison in it. And M. Bison's like the face of the villain. He's the face villain of the franchise.
He could show up in the after credits or mid credits.
Yeah, he could do the after credits. Like Sagat's in a hospital room and he's like some guy comes and he's like, "You want to get revenge on that punk who sucker punched you?" It's like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Why don't you join my organization? It's called Shadow Law. That'd be cool. Why not? You know, I mean, the first Street Fighter is a shitty movie, but you know, maybe a video game could be maybe. I mean, maybe it's a shitty game, but maybe a movie could, you know, revamp it.
Right.
Yeah, I'd be down with that. Anything else you want to add before we wrap things up? Since we're
nothing at the moment.
All right then. So here we go. This is the end of the podcast. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. You can reach me at mrredfoxbsbuster@gmail.com. You can also You can also reach me at Twitter at Matthew Wesley at mrredfox91. We will be talking about this Saturday, 7:30 p.m. to hopefully 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be doing the news of the week. It's been kind of a quiet week.
And unfortunately, I won't be there because I'm gonna be at the Comic-Con.
Yeah. So you get to be our man on the ground for Comic-Con. Since you'll be there and no one else will. So you can be the man on the ground for Comic-Con. So with that being said, that's the end of the podcast. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. And I'm going to steal this from Shadow Fox Infinite. Do you play games to have fun or to impress other people? I don't know about you, but I play games to impress other people. I don't give a shit about having fun. So that being said, rate, comment, share, subscribe. Peace and good night.
And hype responsibly.